Hello everyone, how you all doing? So we're going to do a discussion about chapter 179 and 180 of Seven Deadly Sins. So to start off, I'll just do a recap of this 179, which I don't think was the greatest chapter, but it kind of was developing Artemis a bit more and his strength, and he had this little cat thing all of a sudden, which can talk, and that's probably going to lead somewhere soon, I'm assuming, but nothing on that yet. And then we have just the development of Artemis basically in the first chapter on how, like, obviously Artemis, he's King Artemis, so he's making a huge reference to the King Artemis in our kind of like myths and stories. So I think that Artemis is going to play a key role. We were introduced to him like 100 chapters ago, and he hasn't really done anything. He's still weak. But it's kind of driving to the point this chapter he might actually become as strong as Meliadus or Escanor, I think. I think he's going to be, because obviously Escanor and Meliadus are way out of the other seven deadly sins. They're way out of the league of the other seven deadly sins. And I think maybe Artemis could have a power up soon through all this training, through all this fighting, that will put him on par with Escanor and Meliadus. So that's kind of my theory, that King Arthur is going to be soon a pivotal character in this story and be able to take on the worst of the worst. Because I think just because of his namesake and the connections to those myths, I don't know what his dragon will be, like the myths, but I'm sure that maybe the dragon will be, I don't know, maybe one of the Ten Commandments has like a dragon-esque form. That would be cool to kind of relate back to the myths. I'm sure we'll meet a dragon at some point just because it's King Artemis and he's a real person and he slayed a dragon. So I'm sure that a dragon might appear at some point, or a metaphorical dragon for Artemis to fight. So I'm really looking forward to that. This chapter was just to build his character again, so we don't forget about him and be like, hey, this character still exists. He's actually probably going to be stronger and going to be a pivotal character later on. I haven't forgot about him. That's what this chapter was about. And to show that Artemis, no matter what, like all despair, was showing about more of the despair of the world has happened, and no matter what, people were starting to see that Artemis was the light through this despair. So more character there with how, Artemis was the light. Seven deadly sins are gone. So we have Artemis as the new light, as the new protector. So that was interesting. And then we went to the next chapter where, again, my suspicions were correct. Meliadus is probably going to be fine just in a couple chapters, but we have it to where it's copying the beginning. I don't really, usually this is done with time skips sometimes often. They kind of like mimic the beginning to have a bit of nostalgia. And so obviously this author's playing off that idea. So, hey puppy, drinking some water? Hey, sorry, my dog's just drinking some water. If you can hear some splashing, that's what it is. So, yeah, so it's going back to how it was in the beginning with how an unknown person in armor comes to the shop, how everyone's drinking, how people in the bar, obviously Meliadus' bar, but Elizabeth's running it now, and Elizabeth has just as bad cooking as Meliadus, so people are spitting it out. So that had the same theme. And then we have kind of a guy that we've seen before that was an enemy, and kind of just this conversation where it's just like, oh, I'm an enemy, I should leave here quick. But then Elizabeth is like, I knew you're not an enemy, like it doesn't really matter. Obviously we knew that about Elizabeth. We knew she wouldn't care anyways. But just a little bit more tidbit in there. And then I kind of liked how everyone was partying. It was nice to see everyone party again and be happy. All this despair and all this destruction was happening. It was nice to see. It was nice to see the people lively, and how the message was kind of like, even in absolute despair, you can't just sit around like looking at that problem and focus all your attention on it. Sometimes you have to like get yourself away from the problem and just have a good time. That doesn't mean you need to drink and party, but it could mean that you do something else and focus your time on something else you love, even though there might be a concerning problem that you need to deal with. Obviously, you can take that too far, you can take that not enough, but that was a good message nonetheless. And then we kind of got, let me look at the spelling, just hold on a second. Zaratras reveal. And Zaratras, that was very interesting. Did not see that coming ever in this series. I would have not expected this. This was the death that was in the very beginning of Seven Deadly Sins, and it was like for sure he was dead. Like when we saw him, he had holes through him, his mouth was drooling blood. So is this actually Zaratras? It's hard to know if this is actually Zaratras, because like when we saw him, he was very dead. He was dead as dead. could get. Like, it was like very clear that he was dead. You couldn't get any deader than that, and yet somehow he's back. So this could be a lot of things. It could be that the gods revived him. It could be that he has some similar powers to Ban, and maybe his regeneration just took a while to take effect. Maybe he drank some of the immortal water years ago or something. It could be related to his own skill set and abilities. It's really hard to say right now. You can just throw a bunch of theories. I don't really have any confirmed solid theory in my head right now. I have a bunch of theories that could happen. Nothing set in place just because it was kind of like a shocker at the end. It's kind of like, who's the guy in the mask? I was like, oh, it's going to be Ban. It's going to be someone from the Sins. I thought it was going to be Ban. But then it was just like, nope, Zaratras. And that was like a complete 180 to what I thought it was going to be. Because the person in the armor was trying to mimic who Elizabeth was at the very beginning, how Elizabeth came in the armor. And so now Zaratras is coming in the armor. And so maybe he has a quest, just like Elizabeth had a quest for her heroes. Maybe he has a quest for Elizabeth. And I just don't know what's going to happen now. I really want to see the Sins. It's really kind of like making you scared, and it's doing this on purpose. There's a reason why we haven't seen the Sins in so long. It's trying to make you feel like that the Sins are gone, that all the Sins are dead, and that this is a world of absolute despair. I don't believe it for a second. All the Sins are fine. I don't even think one's dead, because it hasn't really been a series where a lot of people have died. And just to kill all of them off like that, when you've never killed any other character before, is kind of just not the norm of this author's storytelling. So there's no way they're all dead. They're still alive. He's just like making these chapters very long, so we're like, oh, are they dead? Are they dead? And it makes us want to read more. So I like the style. I really want to read more. I want to find out what happens. So I'm really into it right now. So thank you everyone for watching. If you like the video, if you like 7 Deadly Sins, please like and subscribe. I'm going to have a review every week and discussions about 7 Deadly Sins. My channel also does other discussions about anime and manga. So thank you everyone so much, and goodbye.